The Board of Regents has released their provisional budget that's based upon the passage of the current state budget. The provisional budget is very illuminating in that for once we now have some certainty as to what our budget number is going to be. In the materials that the Board of Regents put out, there was some confusion, quite frankly, because of an attempt, I think, to help clarify the situation. It gave the appearance that our institution was receiving $4.5 million of additional GPR revenue. What I'm here to tell you is that we're clearly closely analyzing these budget numbers and trying to understand how that is being projected in such a way. One thing I can tell you is that we are experiencing a $7.4 million reduction in GPR, as well as we're going to be spending about $8.6 million of our own fund balances or reserves in order to help spread this cut over multiple years. We've spent the entire spring preparing for this, and I need to, at this point, really compliment the campus community, the faculty and the staff, and the students for their hard work and understanding and discipline for us to get to the good point that we are today. I'm here to report that we have already satisfied the budget cut for year one. We had planned on spreading it over 3 years. So in year one, we wanted to reduce GPR by $2 million. I'm here to report that we've reduced it by about 2.6 million, again, primarily through attrition. Year two is looking really good. We're getting a tremendous yield from our retirement incentive option. Right now we have somewhere in the neighborhood of 50 or so folks who have decided to take early retirement. As we contract the overall workforce of this institution, one of the areas that's going to impact the student services. So we have to simply work smarter. It's important to note that we still are going to draw the straightest and shortest line possible between a student beginning time here and their graduation. We will make sure there will always be a pathway for a student to graduate on time in the most efficient way possible. Along the way, they simply aren't going to have the same array of choices in particularly upper division courses as they once might have. It's the year three that we're working on right now in terms of how we're going to address the budget situation. In that point, we'll need to cover an additional $3 million of this cut. And that's really where our pro-growth agenda must be kicking in at that point. So we've just hired a new Associate Vice Chancellor for Enrollment Management. His name is Brandon Miller, and he will start work at the end of July. Brandon is going to be responsible for developing the strategies as well as the tactics for us to attract, admit, retain, progress, and graduate more students. I've lived through this before. I'll admit this one is pretty severe. There's no question. It's a pretty steep cut. But I have, in the previous system I was involved in, we've had very large and sudden budget cuts that we had to deal with as institutions. So when I was looking at UW-Oshkosh as a possibility, quite frankly, you could see this coming from a mile away. There was no question. I know that there are demographic challenges in Wisconsin in terms of the student enrollment, which we need to address. And at the same time, we have a contracting state government, contracting a tax base, and as a result, that puts pressure on higher education. We still have the Wisconsin idea. We still have a tremendous and dedicated faculty who put students first and foremost. We still have the wonderful opportunity of place here for UW-Oshkosh, and we have a large comprehensive institution that's ensconced in a large population area, 1.2 million folks in the Fox Valley region, containing every imaginable kind of industry, healthcare, finance, manufacturing, you name it, we do it. So the opportunities at UW-Oshkosh are incredible in that we simply have to sort of get our gaze up. We got to get our eyes off the deck and looking forward and again, and quite frankly, by transforming this institution, unfortunately through these budget cut situation, I'm hopeful that we can get to a place where we're talking about what's next for the institution as opposed to reacting to whatever's happening in Madison. We are going to be able to transform as an institution and come out of this, in my opinion, much stronger. We're going to be leaner, and more focused on what it is, and quite frankly, less dependent upon our friends in Madison, which is a big part of this. So I'm very optimistic about the future and look forward to working with the campus to continue this momentum.